Meanwhile, in the pod cave.
And welcome back to another edition of the Podmen. I'm Brad.
I'm Brian.
Podman Ron.
Uh-oh. We're keeping PMR up. Have you had your coffee yet?
I have not.
That explains quite a bit. All right, well, I still have yet to try the 5 Splendas with blueberry, but well, he's into it. He's into it, I think.
No. Who's on it now?
I know. We're not starting off good here, but we have a lot of stuff to talk about. So I hope, especially Brian, who has a download of Megacon, I hope Brian wakes up a little bit for this. But a lot of news, and we were just talking in the green room, a lot of trailers. Disney had a big Star Wars trailer day or whatever it was called. So we got trailers for that, trailers for Blue Beetle, trailers for the Marvel. And a few movie reviews to talk about. But first, let's hit the news desk. All right, Brian, what's happening in the world of nerd news outside of these wonderful trailers?
Yeah, a lot of trailers, but if you're a Star Wars fan, there was a big event. They've basically course corrected the Star Wars universe and made several announcements. First and foremost, they're making a new trilogy set 15 years after the last movie. Okay. What was the last movie called?
The Last Jedi.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker. It's 15 years later, and it's going to center around the Jedi Order. And the Jedi Order is apparently in shambles, which...
No!
I thought it didn't even exist.
Well, yeah, it didn't exist. So she starts the Jedi Order back.
She being
and immediately fucks it all up, apparently.
I would love for one of these movies just to have a Jedi Order that's not a bunch of poussoirs and they're not screwed up.
Runaways?
I mean, yeah, just go ahead and start it with their... I mean, I guess you could say Phantom Menace started with them, but they were a bunch of monks basically back. I don't know.
But
yeah, she's at the
it's
end
like we go to the same well over and over and over again.
Right.
Yeah, there's nothing new. But considering it starts, or it ended with her deciding to form the new Jedi Order. 15 years later, that's not a lot of time to build it back up and then completely screw it up. So
I don't know. I've screwed a lot of things up in 15
in a little bit of time. Yeah.
In a little bit.
Did she
really fucked up a lot?
I mean, it's been a while. I have kind of intended on going back and watching that last movie just for shits and giggles because I think I only saw it once. But did she? I thought she just kind of buried the lightsaber and that was it. Like it was
she
sort
had
of
a new lightsaber.
She had the gold one. She had the yellow bladed lightsaber.
Okay, I completely forgot that. Right.
Yeah. So.
Well, could they? Let me ask you this, Brian. I mean, could they? Mm-hmm. They being Star Wars, they being Disney, could they create, John Wick style Star Wars, like the Jedi, instead of being, as PMR said, more like passive aggressive monks asking someone to suck their tongue? But could they be more like John Wick and just be a bunch of like intergalactic badasses? Could they do that without it being too aggressive?
I don't think Jedi's could, but I think that's part.
I mean, this is a new order. I mean, they rose from the ashes.
But I'm just saying, still being kid friendly.
They're not going to. Yeah, they're not taking it anymore. This ain't your daddy's Jedi.
Well, yeah, but that's not the Jedi. Like, this is what's always bugged me: is why is it only Sith and Jedi? Why is there no third option? And that's kind of the promise of the Mandalorians, was it's a third option. So if you wanted to have that John Wick type character, in theory, it would be a Mandalorian. Okay. Because that's what they're supposed to be.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Ironically, Obi-Wan says that the Sith only talks in absolutes, but kind of Jedi does the same thing, do they not?
Yeah, they absolutely getting out of here.
So, but
when the going gets tough, the Jedi get going.
Yeah, they get going. But you need somebody to hammer out a trade agreement. Bring in these monks, these samurai monks.
Yeah.
They're all over that. Well, I think that's part of and I guess that's one of the other announcements is when Rebels ended, the way it ended, Ezra Bridger, who was like the Padawan of the show, and Grand Admiral Thrawn get thrown out into like another region of space, like the New Frontier. So the idea, and I think they've even said something like this, like there was a sect of Jedi that left, that broke off from the. I don't think I'm making that up. I think there's a sect of Jedi that broke off and went and left the primary galaxy. So you could have like this whole like order that's divergent. They're not Sith. They're not Jedi. They're something else that could disrupt like the balance between the two.
And they're saying something different, just something different.
And they have their shit in order, and they're like the galactic. Everything's cool with this new Jedi order.
You would think that someone would get it right after a while. I mean,
right, or just give up. Be like, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Well, what do we even try?
So let me ask you this: has it been 15 years real time since the last movie?
No.
I was trying to think. I'm like, it has
been like 4 years. 4 years, I believe.
Wow. Okay. It feels like a lifetime ago.
maybe 20. It's 2020 actually, or was it? Fuck, I don't know.
I don't know. I think it was 2019, but it was December 2019. But then you've also got. They showed us a trailer of Ahsoka, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Dave Filoni's finally getting his Star Wars movie.
He's moving up to the big time.
Yeah, it's going to incorporate all of his stuff from the Mandalorian and Ahsoka.
I hope we get Amy.
And Ahsoka's really the first live action appearance of most of these Rebel characters from Star Wars Rebels.
Gotcha.
So the thought there is, people are predicting that maybe it's going to be, Heir to the Empire. It's going to be an adaptation of Heir to the Empire with Grand Admiral Thrawn. So you got that, and then James Mangold, who did Logan, X-Men Logan, and he did.
I don't ask anymore.
And did is doing a new Indiana Jones movie. Is going to direct the First Jedi. Like the
First Jedi,
the High Republic, High Republic movie set. I think it's set like 300 years before the original Star Wars film. Wow. What is that sound, PMR?
It sounds like he's in a cantina.
No, actually, no.
I think you need a new fan belt, maybe.
It sounds like you have droids whirling about you in a cantina.
Sorry.
So that was our Star Wars news.
So what you're saying, we're going to be getting a lot more of Star Wars.
A lot more Star Wars.
Whether we like it or not. And then y'all wonder why I'm gravitating more towards the heirs.
Watching biography movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I guess you kind of have to keep things going, right? I mean, why not?
Yeah, but the problem is, it's like if every superhero was Superman, and it's like the same power set, the same type of villain, and so they just keep. Well, this time his cape's blue. Now he's got a green cape. It's like the Jedis all act the same way. There's they dress the same way. There's no distinct. None of them have any level of personality to them. Like it's like they don't. And when they do something like Solo and try to expand, or they try to do something like Rogue One and they try to expand,
right?
Of these experimental films, Rogue One was that
we rebel. The nerds rebel against it.
We rebel. Rogue One was probably the best of the films. That weren't trilogy.
I actually like Solo. I'm on Solo.
I like Solo a lot too.
But anytime they try to get away from the Jedis, fanboys,
Right.
piss themselves, and then it comes back to then it goes back to the Jedis, and nobody will admit that the Jedi suck.
Yeah, they do suck.
Maybe the prequel will be there'll be a bunch of badass Jedi, and it'll explain why they suck now or something. I don't know.
I actually like John Wick style Jedis. I mean, 15 years later, they started a new order. They decided they're not going to take shit anymore. Fuck it.
From who?
They're getting too old for this shit.
But again,
too old for this shit.
There also hopefully will be new stories to tell, whether it's Thrawn or. And I don't know my Star Wars, novel history or whatever. But it's sort of like, okay, is the Empire going to exist again? And that's what they're fighting against, or can it be something that is not it's somewhere between? Oh, the farmers need some help.
Here's my pitch.
And the Galactic Empire.
Here's my pitch.
I don't know.
Here's what they could do. A ship crashes full of Jedis, and they're in the sand, and they think they're on Tatooine. But
perfect.
There's exactly, and then there's the Sphinx and pyramids, and they're in ancient Egypt.
Damn you! Yeah.
Here's what I think's actually happening: is Thrawn's coming back with an army. Like he was in that sector of space, and he's coming back with an army.
Okay.
And Thrawn will be the new threat.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, how many times are they going to rebuild the Empire, the First Order, whatever you call it? Here's something interesting too. Like, I don't know why more science fiction doesn't get into this, but time dilation. Like, you could have like not like they did in Ant-Man with the stupid fucking ants, but have something where their time dilation causes a new threat to arise,
right?
Out of it. So like you see something happen, and because of time dilation or being a gravitational well or whatever, and time moving faster, or slower for our perspective, whichever you want to do, it causes that threat to like go away as not a threat and come back as a major threat.
Right. Okay.
Right. If you got into a little more hard, practical science fiction,
right.
Just the whole, I guess even the stuff nowadays with spaceships, lining up like they're, Seacraft,
2D,
on a linear, they when they battle like battleships. They don't battle like right. Fighter jets. They should battle like fighter jets. But it's like
Khan doesn't think in 3 dimensions, Brian. That's right.
No.
That's right.
No, they don't.
If Star Trek 2 has taught us nothing, it's to talk.
I wish that Star Wars would honestly, if Star Wars wanted to make it fresh, just get a little more practical with the sci-fi.
But I think
dip their toe into some of the Star Trek kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not go full like science. I
was going to say Star Wars is more fantasy than it is science. So that's why you've never had time travel or anything like that in Star Wars, because it's more Lord of the Rings than it is.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
But think about this:
Star Trek.
If Disney wants to freshen the property up, it isn't like they're going to go originally create something completely new. Marvel's more than happy to steal DC's homework. So why doesn't Star Wars start stealing a little bit of Star Trek's homework? Right?
I told you what to do. You do the whole I am the apes thing.
Nah.
Yeah.
I don't like the Planet of the Apes thing, but I do think there's little tweaks they can make to really freshen things up. So
I agree with you. I know what you're saying, and I agree. I mean, they just keep doing the same old thing. Oh, but it's in this time period. Oh, it's 15 years in the future, or it's 5 years after this, or 3 years after this. I mean, Good Lord, it's gotten really convoluted.
Yeah, I think they just need to, and again, maybe it's with the old stuff in the past or the future stuff with Rey, but again, like we said, kind of pick what the hell the Jedi are supposed to be. Are they supposed to be peacekeeping monks? Are they supposed to be badasses like John Wick? Are they, still something from James Bond? Make them like undercover agents or something like that. And there's maybe not a galaxy threat happening, but something happening on a planet that the Jedi dispatch 3 people to, or something like that, and make it whatever. But
make a bunch of like gangsters instead of like an empire that they fight.
Right.
Maybe it could be a bunch of alien gangsters.
Or
like the Huts, or just different varieties of that. I mean,
make it terrorists.
Yeah, right.
Like it doesn't have to be a whole army. It could just be like
world. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like a Nazis. It could be, like the Taliban.
Yeah, pick one of these these crazy sets. All right.
I mean, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, we don't. None of us.
Or here's an idea too. Like instead of everything having to be binary, black and white, like get a little gray and stuff.
Right.
They kind of got a little gray with Kylo Ren, but not really.
Right.
It's like just like you don't have to be. It's Jedi, it's Sith. What about a third option, right? Or what about you have Sith that aren't too bad, but then you also have Jedis that are pieces of shit. What if you just had a real asshole Jedi?
Right.
Like he's on the Jedi side, but nobody likes him. He's a real piece of shit. Right?
Yeah. I'd love it.
He could be like what's her face in Harry Potter, Dolores Umbridge. What if you got a Dolores Umbridge style Jedi that everybody wants to see lose anyway?
You could actually have a Han Solo style Jedi because they've never really done that.
Right.
I mean,
well, that's kind of what people were hoping with Ezra, and I mean we may still get it, but it was always cool with Ezra that his first lightsaber was a blaster, so it had like a blaster feature on it, and the lightsaber too, so he could. But yeah, Ezra was like a. He was a thief. He was on Lothal. He worked with a bunch of he wasn't really a part of the rebellion, but he was like a thief and in that world. And so like he would, pass information on to the rebellion and steal stuff and that kind of thing. And then he fell in with Kanan and the rebels. So, but yeah, Ezra was kind of had some of that DNA. Now, will they completely like sanitized him? Probably. Like, even though he was like a teenager and got cast out into this other sector of space, and it's been like a decade, he'll come back with all virtuous and stuff for some reason, and unearned or explained, and act like every just plain vanilla Jedi that was ever created. But yeah.
So lots of stuff going on with Star Wars. What else we got?
We've got HBO Max, which is now rebranding as just Max.
Plain old Max.
Plain old Max. They're charging me an extra $1 a month, Brad.
What? I can't believe that.
I'm going from $14.99 to $15.99.
That's
insane. It's an extra $1, but they're giving me all that Discovery shit that I don't care about.
Quality content.
I don't
is what
care
it sounds
about,
like to me.
I don't care about Fixer Upper or Flip Flap and Flop.
Flap and Flop. The
Shark
Hotel.
Week.
The 90 Day Fiancé universe, one of the most successful universe franchises ever, 90 Days Fiancé. You don't care about that?
No, I don't. Can I just save my $1? Can I just have my $1 back?
They will. I've heard that they will send you $1 back if you promise not to watch anything each month.
Okay, I'll promise not to watch any of it. That's an easy promise to keep.
But you did get a trailer for Penguin. Kind of a teaser trailer for Penguin and The Flash.
Did y'all watch it? I didn't even watch the Penguin one. Was that?
We'll see.
There's not much to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's mobster.
They announced that they're going to do and plans for 10 seasons. 10 years.
10 years of what?
They're going to reboot Harry Potter as a television show.
Oh,
yeah.
And this time they're going to stay true to the source material.
Interesting.
I read the source material, and I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's going to be this one's going to be a faithful adaptation, PMR.
Oh. As opposed to those crap movies.
As opposed to those crap movies that did, how many billions of dollars.
Bond.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally been what? The last Harry Potter movie was 2011. I mean, and they're already rebooting it.
Why not?
That's kind of...
Give it a reboot.
I guess.
There's something else they're rebooting that's like very recently ended. Other than Harry Potter, I'm drawing a blank on it now.
Well, it's Batman, Superman, anything DC, they've rebooted.
Got to reboot.
I mean, got to reboot that shit.
No, I'm talking about stuff that was like successful. I got to figure it out. I'll find it. But so yes, we're getting a 10 season or 10 years worth of Harry Potter films or TV shows.
And don't get me wrong, I love Harry Potter. I love all the books. I've read all the books. I saw all the movies. I kind of just wanted more of a sequel of where, starring some of the original cast, even though a lot of them are no longer around, but it would have been much more enjoyable than this.
And starting it off fresh.
Yeah.
Reboot it over. That's the thing.
Yeah. But I guess they're looking at the younger generation coming up, they
don't care about 55-year-old men
Well, yeah.
who love children's books, who love kitty books.
Yeah, so
Brad,
I think one of my favorite stories is
Borders go to the Harry Potter release party.
I know. I went there with you, and I went to the movies to see one of the movies with you. I went to the theater. I think that's the only interaction I've ever had with Harry Potter is those two things. I don't think.
I had to have you go with me so I wouldn't look like a child molester waiting for the book to be
Then we just
released,
looked like two of them. I didn't want to look like a lonely child molester. I wanted to look like I had some friends.
Oh, God.
Let's see. Oh, this is what it is. Did we talk about this? Moana? The Rock's going to reboot Moana as a live action?
Live action?
That's what it was.
That's the one you were talking about.
Well, that's kind of, I mean, what else are you going to do there, right? I mean, Disney's doing live actions of everything, right? I mean, who else are you going to get for Moana?
The movie just came out like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it came out in 2016.
Yeah, but that's kind of in line with what Disney's doing, though, is just doing live action remakes.
Just hashing shit back out.
Reboot.
Reboot it. I wish Alex was on the podcast for this one. Chloe Zhao is set to direct a new film about Hamlet, following Shakespeare's wife.
Oh. A different angle of Hamlet.
What? I didn't hear that. What?
Chloe Zhao is set to direct a new film following Shakespeare's wife.
Huh?
It's a period piece.
Didn't Apple? I wanted to watch it, but I just never got around to it. Didn't Denzel Washington do Hamlet movie on Apple TV Plus?
I think he did. Yeah,
it looked good.
Yep, but I don't know. Alex would be the one to ask.
Yeah.
But I wonder how many, or how much beautiful cinematography they can squeeze into this film.
I'm sure.
From Chloe Zhao. So. Yeah, I'm sure I wish I could get his take on it. I'm sure he's over the moon.
I mean, we'll talk about the Marvels trailer in a little bit, but after, seeing all these trailers of the Star Wars stuff and Marvels and Blue Beetle and all that kind of stuff, it's sort of like, wow, maybe Alex is onto something, that this is what all this crap is missing, is there is no cinematography or like gravitas to anything. It all looks like WB shows and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that's a discussion there.
And that's probably a discussion that may come up later in the podcast, because that was a point I was going to make about what you're looking at.
Oh, okay. Well,
so
tee that one up for you, buddy.
Great teaser there, Brad. We've got some more news. The original script for Thundercats. The original script for Thunderbolts was reportedly too heavy with Black Widow characters and not balanced.
I thought you were something totally there, something different there. But
yeah, so the Thunderbolt script was too heavily focused on Black Widow characters for the movie that bombed. And so it's gone back to, they're rewriting it to try and make it more balanced and more inclusive to other characters and less focused on,
the majority of the cast
Black
are
Widow
Black Widow type characters, right?
Yeah.
You've got like 2 or 3 of them.
Red Guardian, you got the White Widow. I mean, there's 3 of them right there. So,
yeah.
Then you got the other characters just kind of sprinkled in there. So, yeah.
Yep. So it's going back to the drawing board.
That does not sound good.
No, it does not. Let's see. We got Glenn Powell, who played Hangman in Top Gun, in the Top Gun sequel, right? He was the He was the Iceman, but he was also in that Devotion movie where he was we said it was, Top Gun 1940.
Oh, yeah, that's right. With
Kang.
Okay, it was him. I was trying to think if it was Denzel's kid, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Jonathan.
But he signed on for another reboot or a requel from a 90s film. They're making a sequel to Twister called Twisters.
Twisters, more than one.
More than one.
Fantastic. I want to go back and rewatch Twister now.
And this time,
it's personal.
vengeance. It's personal, yes.
It's personal. Yeah, what's wild is they're in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And the tornado finds them in the Bahamas.
Blimey, look at that. There's a tornado following us all the way from Kansas. Thank you, Mike.
They've said She-Hulk will not be getting a season 2.
What?
And the article said the main reason, despite all these criticisms, is simply, the CGI criticism, the some of the plot stuff. The main reason is, despite all the criticism, is simply the show didn't connect with most of its franchise audience, which they spent most of the time insulting.
Again, that's another disappointment that it could have been so much better, and it could have been tongue-in-cheek and comedy and her doing a Norman Fell at the camera and all that kind of stuff. It could have been all of that if you just had, again, a kind of a decent script of, like we talked about, it was the easiest thing in the world where you could have had courtroom type shenanigans happening and bring in fourth tier characters and all this kind of stuff, but they didn't do any of that. It was just very weird.
Nope.
Well, it's weird. It's like they knew that it wasn't landing.
Yeah,
they knew that the show wasn't landing. They knew that they weren't going to have the CGI budget they wanted. I think they knew they had a stale product very early in the process, so they flipped it to where it's like, we're going to get
just kind
criticized. So let's go ahead and attack the critics.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But the critics in the scenario were the audience. So
I feel like they get these people in all these rooms, these writers in a room, and they watch this stuff and they pat each other on the back and they say, "Oh, that was hilarious. That's great." And there's nobody that's honest with them. There's no focus group or anything.
Yeah, it's an echo chamber.
Yeah, it's like, this really sucks, y'all. Y'all need to work on this. I mean, they just churn this crap out.
If you say it sucks, then they can easily flip it on you as you're the problem.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you're the consumer of the product they're trying to create.
It's a shame because great character and great actor and everything, and maybe she'll show up and have more luck in the A team or whatever with the all female Avengers.
God, no. I mean, just make a movie. I mean, quit trying to cater to everybody.
Well, yeah, when you try to cater to everybody, you cater to no one.
Yeah.
There's a common theme in this episode, Brad, and maybe we should look about doing this ourselves.
What's that?
The Amazon bought the MGM catalog about a year ago. Right?
What can we buy?
And so they're rebooting almost all of their IPs.
Right.
So they're rebooting RoboCop.
Love it.
Legally Blonde.
Perfect.
Fame.
Yes.
Fame. Stargate. Barbershop.
Yes.
The Magnificent Seven, which got a reboot like 5-6 years ago.
Right.
Pink Panther. And the Thomas Crown Affair.
All of them have had reboots or are reboots. I mean, except for Legally Blonde is the only original, I think, there.
Yeah, Thomas Crown Affair was rebooted.
Right.
Fame was rebooted.
Right. RoboCop. Yeah. What else did you say?
Barbershop, because they did Beauty Shop, remember?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Stargate had a sequel or like TV sequel or whatever type stuff, right?
And the Pink Panther, you had the Peter Sellers, and then you had the Steve Martin.
Yeah.
So okay. Yeah, MGM is coming back at you, full force.
I'm all for it.
So that maybe we should reboot the Podman.
There you go.
It couldn't hurt, that's for sure.
Bring in a younger demographic.
Oh, God.
All right. Let's see. I think that's it. Other than trailers,
let's talk about
and
trailers.
We do have a moratorium.
Oh, we do have a in memoriam. Okay. Well, let's talk about trailers. Let's put the more in memoriam on moratorium. Trailers. So what did we? You mentioned Ahsoka.
We got an Ahsoka trailer.
Yeah, and that looked okay, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Was there any men in this trailer? I swear to God, everybody was female in this trailer.
You saw the back of General Thrawn, and you know that Ezra Bridger's coming back.
Okay, but was there any, good guy men's, or were they all?
No, well, Ezra's a good guy, man.
Okay, I don't know all Star Wars lore.
What's the, was it, not BJ and the Bear, but the Seven Lovely Ladies? What's
Seven
the
Trucker?
Seven Ladies Truckers. Seven Lady Truckers.
Right.
Was it still BJ?
Yeah, BJ and the Seven Lady Truckers.
Yeah.
Was that before or after he had the monkey?
He still had the monkey, but they renamed the show Seven Lady Truckers.
Yeah. For some reason, it tested well with its target audience. Just the title. We're not changing anything else in the show. We're just changing the title. And Seven Lady Truckers was... Mwah.
And one of them's name was Stacks.
Stacks?
Yeah.
Nice.
Stacks. Yeah.
So,
no, it really was. I'm not kidding.
All right, Stacks. You got your ears on. There's bubble gum, flashing bubble gum over on your left, 10-4. I see it, PJ.
But yeah, so that's Ezra and his seven lovely Jedis.
Okay, all right. Again, it's sort of like not too exciting, but
yeah, I mean, it's Ahsoka. You see Sabine. You see Hera.
See, I don't know any of these people.
And Chopper. So you got, and apparently in Mandalorian we saw Zeb recently in one of the episodes. So at this point, all of the living Rebels characters will have a live action counterpart.
Yeah, but again, I don't even know these characters, but I still say, well, that's pretty cool.
Rebels is pretty good. Rebels is a pretty good show. Of the Star Wars stuff, it's probably it's better than Clone Wars. It's better than, what's the Bad Batch. Bad Batch is pretty good, but Rebels is probably the best of those. So
who plays Ahsoka? Is it
Rosario Dawson?
Yeah, I like her.
All right.
I
loved her in Clerk 3.
I do love her in Clerk 3.
For the 4 minutes she was contracted to be on screen. So we've got The Acolyte is the name of the Ahsoka show. I'm sorry, the Ahsoka show. Then we've got The Acolyte. We didn't get a trailer for it, but it's going to focus on the first Jedi Wookiee.
Oh, that should be good.
So that'll be there. We had a
Where's
trailer.
He gonna hide at? Where's he hiding at?
Where's he hide his big hairy butt?
Yeah,
He's all singed running. We got a new trailer for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Oh, okay. Which was a little bit different, right? It opens up kind of a little bit oddball with some pop music, as opposed to kind of that blends in a little bit with the indie theme toward the middle of the ending of the trailer. I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know. It was a little bit odd. It threw me off.
What song is it? Is it Stones?
Sympathy for the Devil.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah. So the trailer did great to me. I love Indiana Jones.
No, PMR
didn't like it.
I love Indiana Jones, but I love Indiana Jones back in 1989. Not
just leave them be.
Just they should have. If they were going to do anything, they should have continued it after 89.
But here's the thing. What's the MacGuffin this time?
Oh, that's another.
It's the Dial of Destiny. What does the Dial of Destiny do? Because we finally get a hint at why they're wanting it, why the Nazis are wanting it.
And I think we talked about this, right? That they're, and so that's where Brian's time travel. Right. This is where Brian's time travel comes into play.
My time travel.
Yeah. So the Dial, he wants it to go back and correct, Hitler's plan was flawed, and so he wants to go back in time and correct Hitler's plan. But that opens it back up to where we can, well, if it goes back in time, you can have a cameo by Short Round if you wanted to. You can have any of that stuff. But you could also, put Indy back in that time period. So,
and
yeah, but what really sucks though, I mean,
CG
at this point, you don't have Marion's not in there, so she's probably dead. So we got to listen to them whine about that for about 15 minutes, and you've got Mutt. We don't know where he's at, so I'm sure he's not dead, but he's probably like some college professor somewhere, and he's gonna whine about that for another 10 minutes. And then you get introduced to some woman.
Woman. God damn it.
No. That you've never seen before, and it's his goddaughter. And you're like, okay, well, whose daughter is it? Because he makes that thing, well, I've been shot for 8 times, and one of them was by your father. So, I mean, he's someone that we've seen before or someone, I don't know.
Actually, it was Marcus. Marcus was bagging chicks left and right.
Obviously.
Yeah.
It's got to be Marcus's daughter.
Yeah.
So,
he worked at the university too, right?
That's right.
I would just like
Office hours.
I'm not looking really great for. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Mark can't even form a sentence. I'm not looking really great for it. Get some blueberry coffee in that man quick.
I just wanted.
Just want it my way.
Just put a bullet in it and be done with it and go on. I mean,
it seems like we may need to form an intervention for PMR.
He is in a hateful mood.
Well, not just that. He's a little everything he used to love now he hates, and he has no time for it.
Well, it's because everybody's ruined it.
It's the same thing. I mean. You know what it is? I've lived too long.
That's exactly it. That's exactly
it.
We may have a new in memoriam next podcast, guys.
PMR's lived too long and seen it all, and it's coming back around.
It's coming back around again. And
Don't need a reboot.
There's nothing new. I mean...
So, or do you think that, are we setting it up to hand over the franchise to... what's her Wallace Bridgers?
Waller-Bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're hoping that she'll land, and that'll be they can spin it off into that, if nothing else. But, yeah. The problem with all of this is that everybody wants to cheat. Hollywood wants to cheat. They don't want to build anything. They don't want to spend the time building anything. They just want the quick... box office and then move on. So could they build something new? Yeah. Do they want to take the risk on building something new? Nope. So they'll just keep dredging out these old IPs over and over and over again.
Yeah. But here's something just to sound like I'm a crudgety old man.
No.
That's against anything progressive, but how do I put this? You've got, what's her name? The female?
Right. Phoebe whatever.
Bridge.
Okay. So we're going to assume that she's going to carry on the mantle, or, they talked about it. Perhaps. But, they've tried this. Tomb Raider is a female-led character into that, and that never succeeds. So is this... People are not going to, I don't think they're going to gravitate towards that. There's just some roles that people just want to see something different. They don't want to see a female as that. I mean, as an Indiana, they don't want to see a female Indiana Jones no more than they want to see a female 007. I mean, change it to be different. You
or a female Hulk.
And have, well, apparently not. Just try something different. You don't have to, make her the Indiana Jones. You don't have to make the female the 007. You can just be different.
There you go.
What was that movie? The 007 movie. It wasn't a 007 movie, but it was a female. Was it like Cherry Bomb or something back?
Atomic Blonde.
Yeah, that was a good movie actually. But I mean, it bombed. I mean, it didn't go nowhere. So
there you go.
It's just I just don't think audiences are going to be accepting of certain roles like that. So With that being said, they should have taken like Chris Pratt and made him Indiana Jones, or made him a son or a nephew or something, because he's got the humor and the action, and he could play off on it.
Make him Mutt. Just have him be a grown-up Mutt.
I didn't mind Shia LaBeouf as Mutt, but everybody just had a hatred for him, so I actually didn't mind him at all. But where's he at these days anyway?
Here's the problem. Like for these, the action movies are made for the male audience who want to, they want to live vicariously through the lead. It's hard for me to live vicariously through a woman. There's just not that not that you can have a great actress, right? And you can make a good movie. And sometimes, and here's the thing.
Weaver kicked ass in Aliens. So,
right. There's scenarios where it can absolutely work if you have the right script and the right character, right? But just going in and going, just the laziness of, you like Indiana Jones, as will you like her as a woman?
Right.
Well, it depends on who you cast and if the story's good, right?
Yeah, because the Terminator was Linda Hamilton. It started out as Linda Hamilton. They didn't start making a guy be Linda Hamilton, I mean.
Right. But my point is, you go to all these 80s movies, all these 80s, 90s, 2000s movies where with the female or the male action star, Cobra, I mean, it was just the laziest, most generic script. Right. What was the one with Gene Simmons as the bad guy?
Runaway. Tom Selleck.
Runaway. Tom Selleck, Runaway.
Right. I mean, that movie did well. and it's Tom Selleck and Gene Simmons.
And Cynthia Rhodes.
You've got this, men will go see it if stuff blows up and they can identify with the lead. But if you can't identify with the lead, then you've got to have a great script and a great actress to make an action movie focused on a female lead. Well, is that fair? No. Is it real? Yes. That's why they don't connect a lot of the time. You can't just it's a woman instead of a man. It's completely different DNA for it to work.
Right.
It can work, but that's the thing is nobody wants to do the work. That's the whole reason why we're getting Indiana Jones 5 and Star Wars 14 and Marvel number 27, because nobody wants to create anything new or put in the work to make a good movie. They just want to piggyback off of, the nostalgia piece. And even then, here's the thing too, with the reason we keep going back to the 80s is because we loved them, but did we love them because they were the epitome of action films and the epitome of comedy movies and that sort of thing? Or did we love them because they had incredible marketing engines when we were very susceptible?
That's a good point. Yeah.
They had these incredible marketing campaigns and tie-ins and Happy Meal toys and action figures and cartoon shows. And you didn't have that in the 70s. That was the first time you had that was in the 80s. And so do we have this affinity for all these properties because of the greatness of the movie? Or because they marketed to us when we were at a very susceptible age?
Dang, deep, very deep, Brian.
Well, I mean, if you look back at some of these movies we're talking about, like in the '80s and late '70s, early '80s, mid '80s, if you watch them now, you enjoy them now because it's nostalgia. I mean, it reminds you of, oh wow, this is great. But if you really watch it, they're kind of lame.
Right. That's what Brian's saying. Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, so think about this. Think about Alf. Alf, the television show.
Think about Alf for a second.
Was never good. Not the first episode, not the last episode.
Watch your tongue there.
No episode in between of Alf was good. None.
Yes, there was.
There was never a good episode of Alf.
Very special Alf when he got stuck in the bicycle shop.
That was different strokes.
Gordon Jump.
Okay. But here's the thing. Everybody knows who Alf is. Alf hit that cultural zeitgeist.
Right.
Did it hit the cultural zeitgeist because the show was great and everybody was tuning in, or did it hit that zeitgeist because of the marketing that was behind it?
Because everybody was watching it. Because it was hilarious.
Alf was on The Tonight Show. Alf's on Saturday Night Live. Alf's on, that's why, is it the marketing or is it the actual,
Well, he's playing BJ and the Bear.
Yeah, go back to the 7 Lady Truckers.
It defies explanation.
Yeah, exactly.
Sheriff Lobo had a lot of spinoffs. All right,
everybody loved Smokey and the Bear, and they wanted the same show on television. Right. So it was cheating. It was cheating. Bear.
Yeah.
Smokey and the Bear was a huge hit.
Right,
Smokey
and the Bandit. A ripoff. Yeah,
I'm sorry, Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, Smokey and the Bandit was a huge hit, and so people were like, "Man, I want more of that."
That's true.
Well, we'll give you a TV show that's a clone of it.
Yeah, we'll replace Jerry Reed with a fucking monkey.
Throw a monkey.
A primate.
We'll get rid of the dog and replace it with a monkey. We'll replace Sally Field with a monkey.
Yeah, no one will know the difference. Hey, so, I will say, if you go back and watch the first Smokey and the Bandit, and go back and watch Hooper, where Burt Reynolds plays the stuntman with Jan Michael Vincent, Sally Fields was smoking hot, especially in some scenes where she was wearing some shorty shorts, early 80s, whatever it was, late 70s, early 80s tennis short pants. Sally Fields was very hot back in the day.
Brad, I was 10 years old. Well, I was a young lad when I saw Smokey and the Bandit for the first time. And Sally Fields was never really hot.
Go back and watch Hooper.
It seemed like she was like 40 years old.
I will try to find. I'm sure someone another has some screen grabs of Hooper with her shorty shorts on. You'll be rethinking your hottest Aunt May. Yes.
No,
all right. What other trailers do we have here, Brian? While I look up dirty pictures of Sally Fields.
Oh God.
We got a trailer for the Continental coming to Peacock, but it's only a 3-part event television show. It's like a miniseries. Which, honestly, I'm okay with that. We don't need this to be long format storytelling. I don't. Whatever happened to miniseries? It's like they died in the 90s,
right?
But yeah, if you can make it a tight 3 episodes that are entertaining, and that's all the story needs, that's all I need to see. So, but yeah, we got a trailer for the Continental. PMR, did you see that?
No, I didn't.
All right.
I don't even know what it is, but okay.
You don't know what the Continental is, Brad?
I've seen one John Wick, so I know it's related to that.
It's the hotel for the assassins where you can't kill on the grounds. It's like the safe haven for all assassins.
It's base if you're in tag.
Yeah, it's base if you're in tag. That's actually very accurate.
Thank you.
And then we had, I guess, the big trailer. We got our first teaser trailer for Marvel Studios' The Marvels.
The Marvels.
I liked it.
It wasn't bad. I didn't think it was bad either, PMR. I'm surprised by you.
I don't know why everybody's shitting on it. I just think people just want to shit on it. But.
Well, it's Freaky Friday in space. It's they try to warm me up with a Beastie Boys soundtrack.
They did try to warm me up with that. But
it's based on a Captain Marvel and Rick Jones used to swap places also back in the 70s. And then Rick Jones swapped places with Rick James. Rick Jones swapped places with Captain Marvel's son back in the 90s like that. So there is a precedent there with Captain Marvel swapping places.
Yeah. And honestly, they really did not put what's-her-face in the trailer much. She did.
Brie Larson.
Yeah. She's in the trailer, but she didn't really have any speaking parts.
I am the only person, I think, that likes Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I must be the total oddball.
Yeah, you love her.
I am.
People don't, and you can tell by the trailer that they did not give. You can tell they gave them a number of seconds based off how well people are liked and perceived.
Right.
So Kamala Khan,
she's the star.
She's the star of this movie. She got the most, at least from this trailer. She got the most screen time of anything in this trailer. And honestly, I mean, I liked Monica Rambeau. Fine. I mean, she wasn't.
Doesn't do anything.
There was no real personality or anything.
Right.
I mean, she's got dead parent syndrome, but that's it. Like, there's no other defining like personality trait for her. which I guess is better comparatively to Brie Larson, who nobody likes her character at all.
So that's what happens. That's what happens when you do a news conference and tell everybody that the people that watch your movie it's not made for you, and it's not made for 40-year-old white males.
Well,
Alienate about 70% of your audience.
That's what Marvel's been doing recently. What I thought was kind of interesting, and again, maybe hard to draw too many assumptions from the trailer, because, like you said, Brian, they didn't show a whole lot of Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, whatever her name is. But it's sort of like that. What you did see of her, she's just like, oh, what? You would think that Captain Marvel would be someone who's been doing this for a pretty long time.
The longest amount of time.
Right?
Yeah.
Since the 80s.
She's been doing it for 30 years.
Right. So she's been
90s.
a superhero type person for quite a while. And you would think that, she would not, I don't know, just they feel like they would have played her a little bit differently other than like, what's going on or something. Maybe I'm reading too much in it, but whatever.
No, I don't think you are, because I noticed this too. You've got, not only is she so dislikable, and I think they know this, that they've mitigated her in the trailer, and they've already basically established that the cat's her sidekick. So it's like,
right.
What did people like about that movie? Well, people kind of thought the cat was funny. All right, well, the cat's got to be your sidekick now.
And we're going to have a lot more of them.
Yeah, we got to do something to make her more palatable to the audience.
Don't get me wrong.
Well,
she's as hot as the 1978 Sally Fields.
Sally Fields is never hot. I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about.
So
that's just my fetish.
Did you find a picture of hot Sally Fields?
I did. I'm going to send it to you.
It's for his private collection.
I save it off my hard drive.
But
Kamala Khan is an adorable perfect little Spider-Man ripoff.
She's my second favorite Peter Parker.
Spider-Man ripoff.
It's like, for my Peter Parker characters, it's like first Peter Parker, but a close second Kamala Khan. So
totally different characters.
They're not. They're the exact same.
Well, from a cinematic universe, the same characters, at least. Let's put it that way, right?
They're the exact same character. Like, so Peter fanboyed all over Iron Man, in his first movie,
right?
And in that whole phase, and she's just fangirling all over Captain Marvel. Like there's virtually no difference whatsoever, other than she has more living parents.
She don't have boy parts,
right? And she makes quirky faces and stuff like that, and like, oh my gosh, it's Nick Fury! I can't believe I'm meeting you, and all this stuff. So again, I think she's fantastic, but we'll
I actually
see.
liked her show. I thought it was a good show.
I never finished it. But, no.
Kamala Khan.
And then speaking of superheroes with big families, Blue Beetle. We got the Blue Beetle trailer, too.
We got a Blue Beetle trailer, yeah.
See, Miguel, or not Miguel, Jaime's extended family, including the great George Lopez. Hush my mouth. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. George Lopez.
Don't mention George Perez and George Lopez in the same.
Yeah, please don't insult George Perez like that. God rest his soul.
God bless.
I posted this in the group chat that I'm completely convinced that if Hollywood needs a middle-aged Latino, they only have two phone numbers: George Lopez and Luis Guzman.
Although Cheech.
Cheech hasn't been anything in forever, though.
Okay, that's probably fair. But
he's the grandpa now.
At one time, he was on the list. Yeah. At one time, he was
on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's where George Lopez had to fill in. Like he came off the DL, but yeah, it's like we need a quirky we need a funny middle-aged Latino.
Right.
That's the only thing on George Lopez's resume.
How tall should he be? Because I think Luis Guzman is a little bit shorter. So if you need a shorter, chunkier, funny, quirky Latino, then we got one right here.
I prefer Luis Guzman over George Lopez any day of the week.
Guzman's fantastic,
absolutely.
yeah.
So
Blue Beetle looks like a CW dish type show, I guess. The costume looks fine and everything.
It really does. It looks cheap. It looks.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just does. It looks like It looks like Shazam that we just saw. I mean, just changed around the players, made them all Hispanic, and
you don't get any sense of what the bad guys are doing other than they're trying to get the suit back and all. But it did have some cool Easter eggs of the original Blue Beetles, right?
Yeah.
I would have rather seen that.
Apparently, the bad guy is what's her face, Susan Sarandon.
Yeah,
but she's playing like Ted Kord's like sister or half sister or something. There's a tie back to Kord Industries and all of that.
Like, would it had not been better if you would see a Batman type character, but not be Batman, like a Blue Beetle street level fighter with all the gizmos and the gadgets.
Yeah,
and
a plenty.
Yeah, but just fight street level instead of these. Everybody's got a suit
corporate
now, and the suit. The suit does all this crazy stuff, and it's all special effects. And I would just like to see a good practical effect street level type hero.
Like Moon Knight,
kind of cool.
Like Moon Knight or Daredevil or the Punisher.
Yeah, Moon Knight.
Well, Moon Knight,
or he's sailing in a boat
But again,
with a hippo.
To PMR's point, is like quit trying to impress us with suits that appear out of nowhere and guns suits that turns into giant swords, and everything is fucking handed to the superhero, right? It's like all they have to do is think about it and this appears, as opposed to them actually struggling. Like Moon Knight somebody shoots him and he drops his nunchucks. He can't just like automatically regenerate them from his suit or whatever. There's some jeopardy there. None of that happens anymore.
But again, here's the thing. Hollywood is lazy. These screenwriters are lazy. Right? So it's like we could build characters that you care about and put them in jeopardy, and that be the stakes.
Right.
Or we can just say, the world's in jeopardy. Right. You live on the planet, so that's why you care about the story.
Look at all these CGI villains. Yeah.
Right.
They're all over the place.
You live on Earth, and the Earth is about to blow up. There's your stakes. Now I don't have to do any of the heavy lifting. And create a character that's compelling and likable that I can then put in danger that you care about getting saved.
Right.
It's just laziness. It's just,
do you think James Gunn's going to help out with any of this stuff? Because I think a couple of weeks ago or whatever, he was like something to the effect of like, why people are getting burned out by superhero movies is because they're all horrible. They're not written very well or whatever he said. Right.
Yeah.
You don't care.
I think James Gunn. I think he gets it. Because you've seen, Super, right? Street level hero, right?
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Brightburn. I mean, he's Superman, but he wasn't threatening the Earth. It was like him going nuts, and his parents were the ones in the line of fire. It never even left the farm, right? You got Guardians 1, 2. Guardians 3 is it's all going to be about Rocket and like Rocket's origin. So it's not going to be that his planet may be in danger or whatever, but the emotional connections to the fact that we've had, 18 hours to get to like fall in love with this character, Rocket Raccoon, Oh, back to really quickly. I don't know if you guys caught this in the Marvels trailer. Did you see there's going to be something going on with Ronan? You saw that, right?
A little switcheroo?
A little switcheroo. I think Brie Larson is switched with Ronan because she's got Ronan's hammer and she's wearing like Ronan's armor. Did you see that, PMR?
So, that means she's an accuser, though. So Ronan the Accuser. If you're an accuser, you have the hammer, you have the armor, and it's like I don't know if it's a royalty thing or if it's a official guard thing, but of the Kree Empire. So it seems like now she's become an accuser.
So, but I just saw that in the trailer. It was worth mentioning. That was the only like kind of kernel I got about plot that that's out. But yeah, I think James Gunn gets it. Like I think, Suicide Squad. It wasn't like, yes, you had the weird Starro stuff, and then it was
right.
What is it, Priska? Anyway, but it was that South American country and stars, right? I mean, there could be world threatening potential in the threat, but it's not well, the Earth's going to blow up in 5 minutes if we don't do stuff. It's not that,
right?
So yeah, I think he gets it. I hope he does, because all this stuff is giving me major just burnout.
It's not interesting is the problem. Again, that's where Miss Marvel comes in, to where it's like, okay, you almost like the movie because she's likes the characters. You know what I mean? Sort of like, she's like, oh my God, I can't believe it's Nick Fury. And it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe this is kind of fun and enjoyable. Otherwise, Nick Fury Samuel L. Jackson is totally pulling a Michael Caine and building out his third home in Bermuda on Secret Invasion and all this that looks just non-interesting. Maybe it'll be different, but non-interesting.
Yeah, it's really sad. And honestly, I know PMR doesn't want a Marvel reboot, but something.
No, I do not. You can. They
got to get back to. Yeah. All right, but it's diminishing returns.
Right. You got to have some characters that people like, and at least start with that.
No, the problem is they do have characters that people would like if they would take the time to characters, but they throw all this shit at a wall and then they expect it to stick, and it's not sticking. None of it is.
Well, but but Field, with what's left in the MCU, field me a compelling, interesting Avengers team that could sell another 3 movies.
You can do a quarterback story with all the Avengers.
No, that's what I'm not saying. No, don't go back. Don't go back. We don't want a reboot. That would be a reboot. So that's
not what I'm saying.
Right.
with just various Avengers. You don't have to have the same Avengers, but
so that's okay. So there you go. So field me an Avengers team with who we have now. Who we have left in play.
You're going to disagree with everybody.
No, let's go. Like I won't say a word.
Okay, Hulk.
Okay.
You still got Thor there. You got Thor there. You got Falcon as Captain America. You put him on the team. I mean, he's on the team right now. You could do. I mean, She-Hulk. She-Hulk's been an Avenger for forever now. I mean, you still put Captain Marvel on it. I mean, throw Moon Knight. He's been an Avenger before. Throw Hawkeye on there.
You can't throw Hawkeye on there now. Does that sound like a compelling Avengers lineup?
Right. No.
Depends on how you interact with people. I mean, you've got to start giving these characters more of a personality. I mean, if you think about the original five characters, it was Tony Stark that brought it all together. I mean, you're just going to have to give someone a little bit of a better, funny personality. I mean, you can do that with She-Hulk. You can do that. You can Thor's been a lot funnier than he was when he originally showed up in the Avengers the first time.
And then they ruined him by making him too funny.
They made him too funny. But
there's a couple problems. Thor's not coming back for 3 more movies. The guy, he's so scared of the Alzheimer's diagnosis, he's looking at retiring early.
Living life.
Hulk, as if you needed 2 Hulks on one team. They've already established that Bruce Banner Hulk was injured because of the Infinity Gauntlet, and he's retiring, and so we've got Man Bun Scar taking his place.
Ah, that's right.
Right. You've got that's those two pieces are gone. Watching Sam as Captain America is like watching paint dry. He was so much more interesting as the Falcon than he was as.
Here you go. Throw in U.S. Agent. You know, I mean, throw that guy in. I mean,
okay.
Now you're just going crazy.
You just got to write these people with personalities, and that's not what they do anymore. They just
Well, that's what Brian's kind of saying is that you got to have some person. So you could bring in Dr. Druid.
No, but I'm just saying. He said to put together a team. Yeah, you can put together a team, but now
you can put together. I said put together a team that's going to carry the franchise like the original Avengers team did.
That would be difficult.
Do that.
You can't do that.
You can't.
You can't do that. Not with what we have.
Yes, you can. Easily. You just got to have good writers and
good characters.
I think you're being a little delusional. Like here's the thing though. If what you're saying is true, then the Avengers would have ended back in 1966 when the original characters went away.
But they keep bringing them back, though, right?
They keep bringing them back
every couple of years.
That's the difference.
Yeah,
they can bring Captain America back. They can bring Iron Man back. They can bring Thor back. They can bring back
in the comics. In the comics, in the funny books,
you can bring them back because they're ageless, and time doesn't work linearly in the books.
I get that. I get.
You're gonna have to mansplain it.
I'm just saying. Why would you want to keep rehashing? I mean, kill me out. I mean, I would not go and watch another Avengers movie with Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk. I mean, we've seen it. We've done it.
You wouldn't. So if they put a trailer out and with the promise that Iron Man, Tony Stark is back in some capacity.
Whoa,
Captain America is back in some capacity.
Who gives a shit? They're back. I mean, it's
come on. This is ridiculous.
This is a ridiculous conversation.
This is a ludicrous conversation.
We're in ludicrous speed right now.
You would
What's the purpose? What's the point in building a universe if you're not going to use the characters and try to mold them into something?
Which is
a team.
I think
that takes writing, and that
takes work. And Brian's already established that Hollywood is too lazy to do that work. I mean, you're not wrong, PMR. I think we're agreeing with you that to have a fantastic Marvel universe is great, but they blew their wad way too early building up the characters of the prime Avengers, and then we're like, this is easy, people. Let's lay back and let's just let this ride.
But to do what DC's doing, I mean, everybody's over it. I mean, there's no excitement about any of the shit that DC's chunking out or going to chunk out. I mean, there was a little bit of ooh when they announced like Superman Legacy and this and that, but nobody.
PMR thinks he's the everyman and that he has his finger on the pulse of all fandoms.
No, I don't.
Just because you're not interested doesn't mean that others aren't. You're not the litmus test for all fandom.
Keep in mind that PMR loves Brie Larson as Captain Marvel.
Well, and here's the about you. Brad, we need to timestamp this one and record it, right?
Right.
Because 2 years from now, when the trailers start to hit,
it's
going to be. I knew it was going to be good all along.
No, I love Iron Man.
No, I didn't say it was going to be bad. I'm just saying that there's
nobody. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I'm saying nobody wants to see it, and they might as well not do it.
I didn't say
they can still be good. But nobody wants to see it.
A little bit of related breaking news. I think it's breaking news. I'm just seeing it. Jonathan Majors was dropped by his management company.
Yeah, that shit ain't going away.
Yeah,
right. I mean, they said that when the news came out, like all charges would be dropped and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
and that was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
nothing's been dropped. Like nothing's like there's been no earth shattering. Oh, he's innocent. No, it's been because mum's the word.
Here's what they were trying to do. They were trying to pay this woman a lot of money to say it was a lie and to drop the charges. And apparently she's probably not on board with it. So that's my
So we may have a
it.
new king if these movies keep going. All right. Oh, so therefore the Blue Beetle trailer. Oh, sorry. What?
I'm just going to say I'm right. Go ahead.
And so therefore I'm right.
I am right. So,
hey, Brad, I'm digging this Hooper photo you posted.
Hot Sally Field. I'm not saying. I'm saying it's late '70s hot. Not necessarily by today's standard, but still.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Brad! She looks like she's 45 years old there.
Those 2 cans of Coors too, ain't?
You have to remember, I'm 55, so a 44-year-old is really hot to me. Yeah.
I saw this lady at the Timbers bar the other day. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is. Ugh.
Oh my God.
PMR, we don't know what to think of you. All right, Brian, we are an hour into the show, and we've talked about a couple of trailers.
Yeah, well, and we can move on from trailers. I do have an in memoriam that's kind of near and dear to my heart.
Oh, no.
Is this some wrestler?
No.
Some wrestler that no one cares about, as PMR represents the Joe Public.
I'm Joe Public.
PMRQ Public says no one cares.
No one cares. God,
this is in from Ron Q Public.
I just realized.
Yeah, this is sad to me. Like, there was a point in time where this was like the epitome of the peak of comedy and entertainment for me as a child.
Did Alf pass away?
No.
What the fuck,
no.
man?
But Al Jaffe from Mad Magazine passed away in 93.
How old was he?
He was 102.
Oh, no, that's right. Yeah, you're right. He was 102. He was over 100. Yeah. I don't know why I said 93. Somebody else is 93 that's
too young.
But yeah, Al Jaffe.
Taken too young.
Gone too soon. Al Jaffe was one of the original creators, the usual gang of idiots is what they called themselves. And he's the one that created the fold-in, the back cover fold-ins for Mad Magazine, which I freaking love. Like, that was like this is blowing my mind. I could take this one photo and fold it, and it's a completely different photo. I love Mad Magazine and the Mad fold-ins at the back of the book.
You always loved going to the 7-Eleven and trying to, if you were going to buy one, you wanted one that wasn't folded yet. Because people would always go and kind of try to soft fold to see what the secret image was or whatever. But yeah.
Al Jaffe. I love me some Mad Magazine back in the day.
Yeah, I used to love Mad Magazine. They're no longer out anymore, right?
It comes out quarterly. It does still come out, but it comes out quarterly. But yeah.
Oh, well.
Mad Magazine.
Taken too soon. Sorry about
too
that.
soon.
102 years old, man. Wow.
We could have only made it to 107.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
That's very impressive, yeah.
Yeah.
He's seen some reboots happen in his life.
Sergio Aragonés died a few years ago, right?
Oh, did he? I thought he was still around.
Oh, hold on. Now I got to find out.
Let me get rid of these pictures, sexy pictures of Sally Fields, and look something else up.
Oh, Brad.
Sergio.
Sally Fields, man. Jeez.
I don't even know how to.
No, he's still alive. Sergio's still alive. He's 85.
Okay, I thought he was.
But then you had who was the creator of Spy versus Spy?
Oh my God! Not Don. No, I'm thinking of Don. Not Don Heck.
Yeah, it's not Don Heck.
I'm looking that one up too. Antonio Proas, something like that.
Yeah, he died.
Right.
I
think you're right about that.
Yeah, I think he's dead. But yeah, Mad Magazine.
All right.
I kind of got bored with Spy versus Spy because no one ever won.
I need some characters.
It was just the same thing over and over again.
I need some the same thing, man.
Just the same thing over and over again. Don Martin, that's who I was thinking of, Brian.
Oh, Don Martin. I like Don Martin.
When I was a youngster sketching cartoons, I would do things after him.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right. All right. So there we go. That's too bad for Al Jaffe. We wish him well.
We wish him well.
What else?
Wish you well.
To the other side.
Wish him well.
I don't even, I mean, we've kind of, I would like to talk.
Don Martin died in 2000.
Don Martin died in 2000?
Yeah.
He did all right. He did okay for himself, I guess. I would like to see if those aged well. And see if that humor holds up.
Mad Magazine? Yeah, I'd like to.
I think I used to have a lot of these Don Martin books, but I don't know.
You did. I remember you used to have a lot of them.
Oh, they've got a Mav's Greatest Artists. It's a 2-volume, prestige format, leather-bound book. It's all Don Martin art. That's cool.
Oh, God.
All right. Nobody cares. Nobody knows who any of these people are.
We have really gone into the well. I know we do have probably some movie reviews or TV reviews and all that kind of stuff. But we still haven't really talked about Megacon, Brian, that you went to like a year ago at this point.
Like a year ago at this point, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about who you saw, what you did, and what you bought.
All right. So I went all 4 days.
All right.
We did a couple of photos.
All right.
Celebrity photos. I got to catch up with an old friend.
Wow.
And I made a purchase.
Okay.
So I made several purchases, but the big one is this, which I think is pretty fascinating. So
wow.
I'll get into this. So, it was huge. This year they actually switched to where you needed to prepay for parking. That's how big it was this year.
Uh-oh.
And parking was $30 a day to park.
Holy shit.
Where in previous years you could pay pay at the gate and it was only $10. So that kind of tells you just how. And last year there was times where people were getting blocked out of parking lots.
Yeah.
And they were sending out texts that this parking shut down, that parking shut down. So it's gotten enormous. It's the biggest convention on the East Coast, I believe, at this point. I think it's bigger than New York Comic Con. But yeah, it was huge. I mean, I think they said that there was I think they said something like 80,000 people just Saturday.
Oh,
I mean, It was nuts. And so, I wish they would do a Thursday, Friday, Sunday pass where people could just opt out of Saturdays altogether because you couldn't even move.
Yeah.
If you were trying to intersect, or even turn, you'd have to walk, 50 paces just to get enough room to turn around and come back to the booth you're wanting to see that was right across the aisle. But it was a really good con. Lots of creators there. We got to meet our 2 photos that we opted for. Well, you had Chevy Chase was there.
Oh.
You had Chevy Chase, Anthony Michael Hall.
Oh, that's right.
Dana Barron. So you had everybody but Beverly D'Angelo for, and I guess Cousin Eddie for National Lampoon's Vacation. They had a guy there that had Eddie's RV. He was dressed as Eddie the whole time, and he had the station wagon. And what was cool is they would come out, Chevy Chase came out, and he would take photos in front of the station wagon. Chevy Chase was in a wheelchair, though, so I don't know what's going on with that. So he must not be in great health. But he was in a wheelchair.
Problem.
He's getting old. We decided to get our photos with they did a Daredevil team-up. So it was Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio. So we did that one. And then we did the cast of Scream.
Oh, look at that.
As our other photo. And it was Neve Campbell, which Neve Campbell, you could tell, was not comfortable being there.
Neve Campbell she was not there.
Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich, which they were
this is what my career has turned to be.
Yeah, so now she wishes she'd taken that Scream 6 money.
Yeah.
But so she didn't have to do Megacon. But they were the other 3 were super personable. Like, and apparently when they did we didn't go to their panel, but Matthew Lillard and Jamie Kennedy like moderated their own panel, so they were out in the crowd taking the questions as well, which is pretty cool. And you can stream it online. I got Mitch Gerard was there again this year, and I was able to get this piece. And I posted a photo of this stuff on the Instagram anyway. But I thought this was interesting, Brad, because everything's digital now. What they'll do is he prints this like it's a comic page,
right?
But it's one of one. So he only ever makes one of this.
Okay.
It's laid out like the comic book page, but because it was done digitally, you're getting the colors, the inks, everything on it.
Oh, okay.
So, but this is a page from Mr. Miracle, number 5, but it's also like a Kirby tribute.
Interesting.
So it's Scott and Barta outside of Man's Chinese Theater, and because there's a subplot that he's an escape artist in Hollywood, that sort of thing. So he's getting his handprints at Man's Chinese Theater, and he sees Jack Kirby's handprints, and he kind of puts his hand to see if he measure in Kirby's handprint. So this is a one of one. This is the actual page from the book, but digital. So I thought this was really cool. So I got that, and then I got this, and this is like a Grail piece. A lot of collectors. So I posted the photo of it. It's
what is
right
this?
here. It's a Master of the Universe figure, right?
Right.
And it's commonly known as Wonderbread He-Man.
Okay.
Now, Wonderbread He-Man, there's a whole story to this. This is why this is a Grail. When eBay first started to launch and pick up steam and that sort of thing, somebody posted this figure for auction on eBay. And it's He-Man, but he doesn't have his like chest harness piece. He doesn't have his traditional sword. He came with an axe, and he had brown hair.
All right.
Black boots, black belt, brown shorts, or loincloth, right? So people, when this thing first hit eBay, a lot of people didn't know what it was, and a lot of people thought it was a knockoff. Like, because you'll have in Mexico where they'll get the molds and they'll remold.
Yeah.
And for years, this kind of like had a lot of mystery around this figure. Well, some people thought they remembered there was a mail away for Wonderbread, right? And so that's where they kind of started calling it Wonderbread He-Man, because that was the believed origin of it was that mail away. But then. So this all started like in 99. Then later on, people actually started finding the mail-aways, the Wonderbread mail-away coupons, and they were actually for trading cards, right?
Oh, okay.
And so they went back to, well, where did this come from? Where did this come from? And when this was it was posted with other accessories than this. It had additional accessories in that listing. So people thought, well, it was they kept looking for the other accessories, and they weren't finding it. Basically, they had accessory packs for He-Man, and whoever listed this on eBay put it with some of the accessory pack stuff, but they didn't actually come with the figure.
Oh, okay.
So the reason why this is incredibly hard to find, Wonderbread He-Man, but this is the actual promotion that he came from.
Promotion piece, okay.
The buy 3, get 1 free. And so even that doesn't say what figure is going to come with it, right?
Oh, okay.
So this is where it gets interesting. More interesting. So the buy 3, get 1 free promotion, it just says that you're going to receive a Masters of the Universe figure. It doesn't say which. But this was a promotion, and that's where they thought the theory was this was the promotion that they were getting confused with this. But there was no definitive proof that this and this came together, right? Until the guy that they were doing a Marvel or a Masters of the Universe 25th anniversary coffee table book. And they got one of the major collectors and that to go into the Mattel archives and pull stuff out to write to create the coffee table book. Well, so he had all this material. He kept it for years, and then he was going to go clean some of it out and return some of it. And he came across a letter, and the letter was from a lady writing to Mattel to complain about the promotion. And she was like, my son's very disappointed. We did the buy 3 figures. He got his free figure. What is this figure? He doesn't have his chest armor. He doesn't even have the right sword. What is this? And it was from the buy 3, get 1 free. So when you read the letter, it's enough context to realize this is the figure that came with it, right? But the question is, Mattel, who would have created this, has never addressed it in any way, shape, or form, right? Why? PMR, are you following me? Or have you completely checked out?
He's checked out.
No,
All right. If you go back to the original beginnings of the Masters of the Universe toy line, Mattel had the license for Conan the Barbarian, the movie. About 6 months before the movie hit, they realized that it was going to be R-rated. And Mattel canceled their licensing agreement with Conan Productions Limited, or International, Conan Productions International, right? So they canceled it, and then they won't admit this, right? The common theory is they took all that production art and rebranded it He-Man, right? And then launched the Masters of the Universe line.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. And so the Masters of the Universe line came out the same year as Conan the Barbarian. So Conan Productions International sued Mattel. Well, Mattel denied it. They're like, it's a shirtless, muscle-bound, square-jawed hero archetype. You got Tarzan, you got all these other characters historically that are the same thing. How can you say that this is Conan the Barbarian?
Got a point.
Right? Except he's got brown hair. So the belief is they had these figures ready for production, and when they canceled the licensing agreement, they just had a bevy of these figures that were going to be Conan that they couldn't use, so they gave them away as the buy 3, get 1 free mailer. But the reason it's such a mystery is because Mattel cannot admit that this used to be a Conan figure without paying royalties back to Conan Productions International. So, but yeah, Wonderbread He-Man.
All right.
It's like a grail of grails. So, and I own it with the certificate. So
how much is that thing worth?
A lot.
A lot.
It is worth a lot. So that was my big purchase. I also got the Mattel Voltron vehicle set. Brad, you remember the Matchbox Voltron? Where it's not the Lions, it's vans, helicopters, and all that.
Yeah.
So I grabbed that. I thought this was cool too. I got some Megos. I got the 12-inch Hulk Mego.
All right.
Mego Hulk.
I think he's
Mego Iron Man and Spider-Man.
Nice.
They're in really good shape. So those were my purchases at Megacon. As far as noteworthy stories, I got to catch back up with Jim Shooter again this year.
Whoa, Jim Shooter.
So talked to Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief in the 80s of Marvel, had his fingerprints on most of the things I collected as a child. He has ties to G.I. Joe and Larry Hama, right? The G.I. Joe comic, and a lot of the characters were created by Hama to flesh out the figures for Hasbro. Transformers, Marvel, Iron Man, all that stuff. But I got to talk to Shooter again, and Jonah was with me. And Shooter brought he's got this booklet of all, same thing he had last year. He has this book he has several books, but he has several notebooks with letters from memos from Stan Lee. He's got stuff from sketches. He's got birthday cards from John Romita Jr. drew him a birthday card, stuff like that, right? And but I talked to Shooter specifically about Jonah, who Jonah has always been real involved in art and drawing and sketching and that sort of thing. And so in talking to Shooter, he had some pieces that, like, Brad, have you ever seen the Wally Woods 22 comic panels that always work?
It doesn't sound familiar.
I'll flip this over to you. But
Wally Woods. That does.
Maybe you can see it here.
Hold on.
But
I had to put my phone charging.
All right. But yeah, so he had all these, like, things that he would share when he was editor-in-chief with, artists and writers and that sort of thing. And so, but just talking to Jonah, he sent some of the stuff to me to help Jonah with his sketching and everything.
Very nice.
But talked to him at length. And then he sent me an email with a lot of kind of pieces to help Jonah with his.
What about to help the Podmen get a good?
Yeah, why can't he get an interview?
Yeah, what's up with that, man?
No, well, maybe next year. Maybe next year I'll talk to.
Just need to email and say thank you. Hey, if I do a podcast, if you want to be on it, I would love to have you on it.
But I really probably wouldn't.
We'll give him a 5-minute segment.
But yeah, so
very cool.
Oh, and I didn't realize this, and you guys may, but I didn't. Shooter started working in comics at age 14.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you know that?
I did.
I did not know that.
And he actually was working on Adventure Comics. So he's a Legion of Superheroes Superboy. He actually wrote the book. He would write the books. He would sketch out the panels, do a quick sketch of like the panels, just kind of like a positioning and stuff. And then the actual comic artist would go back in and use his rough storyboard to kind of, draw the comic. But he had some of that stuff in there that was really cool. Jim Shooter, super nice guy.
Best friend.
Yeah, we're emailing back and forth.
Yeah. Well, at no point do you ever say, "Hey."
At no point will I ever mention this podcast. So,
ask him what he thinks of 1978 Sally Fields. I bet he'll be like hot.
Oh, yeah,
hot, no doubt.
We also we talked to the Kubrick School was there, and so we talked to them. They do summer camps and stuff, which are honestly for what you're getting, pretty gosh darn affordable.
Yeah.
So we've talked about potentially sending Jonah up to New Jersey to go to the Kubrick School.
Oh, look at that! That's awesome, man. So, that'd be cool.
It would be cool. So. Yeah, so that was my Megacon memories.
Megacon memories, very good.
Megacon memories. Megacon.
So,
all right. What else is going on? We got about 30 minutes before I run out of tape.
I got to what you looking at.
Sure.
All right,
what you looking at? What you looking at?
Went and watched... I didn't realize, and I guess it makes sense now, last year was the 50th anniversary of The Godfather, because 1972.
Right.
And they did that mini-series or limited series, it was 10 episodes, of The Offer with Miles Teller and Matthew Good. And, what's the guy's name that was in Balls of Fury and the Fantastic Beasts movie? What's his name?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about the making of The Godfather, what they had to do to get that film made.
I think Alex actually did a review of it.
Did he?
Was on, yeah, he got big into it.
The Offer was great. So it basically follows Al Ruddy, who was he was the creator of Hogan's Heroes. So, but he left Hogan's Heroes really early on. And went and approached Bob Evans, who was the head of Paramount Pictures, saying he wanted to make a movie. And so he made a couple of stinker films, and then they opted the rights for The Godfather when it was only like a 60-page draft for Mario Puzo. And they wanted to make the film, but Paramount had been just getting murdered, just one turd after another. So they gave him like a really restrictive budget. And then he went out and hired Francis Ford Coppola. They couldn't get anybody to agree to star in it. It was like, and they wanted Pacino, but the studio hated the idea of Pacino because he was so short. They're like, he's not a leading man. And so it was super interesting watching it. Like, just you get a deep cut into all these old Hollywood. Well, it's all filmed on the Paramount Studios lot, or a lot of it is, right? You see all these other films going into production, right, around that time. You even have the whole thing with Love Story, and I didn't realize this, but Bob Evans was married to, oh my God, what's her name from Love Story?
Ally McGraw.
Ally McGraw. He was married to Ally McGraw. But yeah, it follows the studio and everything, and specifically Al Ruddy, the producer, trying to get the thing made. Well, you also had like the mafia didn't want it made, and so they created like an Italian American civil rights sort of league, and they were trying to stop production, but it was all headed by gangsters. So and then you've also got all the Teamsters. A lot of the Teamsters were mobbed up, right, and they were filming in New York. So it's you've got the gangsters part of it. You've got all the inner workings and kind of the inside baseball about how Hollywood works. You've got all these Easter eggs about other films that are in production at the same time as The Godfather's trying to get made. It's a very good television program.
Good. Yeah, I did want to see it. I heard it was really good.
But to your point earlier, PMR, and part of your the burnout, the superhero fatigue, right, is nobody wanted to make this movie. Nobody wanted it to be 2 hours. And when Coppola and Puzo turn in the script and it's 170 pages, the studio flips out. They're like, how do we even make money on this movie? We can only show it 3 times a day. If you can keep it to 2 hours, we can get 5 screenings a day, right? That type of stuff. The them wanting to cut out scenes, right? Them wanting, like, if you want to know why films today, like what goes wrong with films today, or if you want to kind of get an idea of what could have been versus why did this movie should have been great, how did it turn into shit? It's the studios and the concessions that get made just to turn it into a film, right? And all these outside factors that dictate what ends up being the final product. And basically, it's all the creatives versus the execs, right? Right. And so, it's interesting for that from that time that perspective, but it's just as interesting today because the same shit goes on right now, and that's why. So we've already said it with the Marvel phases. Marvel was small and streamlined, and they were able to do what they wanted, and they do what they wanted without oversight. And they had all these scripts in the can and all these plans in the can, and they had wind in their sails because of box office, to where Disney let them do their own thing. But the bigger they got, and really when Feige jumped from being a Marvel employee under Perlmutter to being the head of Marvel under Bob Iger, that's when shit started to go sideways. Because at that point, Disney was much more involved heavily in everything all the time, right? And I think that's a lot of the reason why the Phase 5 has turned into or 4 has turned into the shit show that it did. But it makes you nostalgic for those old films, right? It makes you nostalgic for the way I just want a good movie. It doesn't have to be a sequel. It doesn't have to spin off into 4 other films. Just tell me a good film, or tell me a good story, well directed, well acted, with compelling characters. Yeah, that's just like, so. I think I think honestly, some of this Marvel stuff will probably turn back into that. Is the fatigue is going to go back to, all right, let's actually get. It doesn't have to be a sequel or a franchise or this huge IP. Just make a good movie, like Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's a great movie. It's original. There's no sequel needed. It came out of nowhere, and now it's here. Right. I'm kind of longing for those type films again. And so we watched. Me and Jacob watched The Godfather last night when it was all said and done. But even like when they're shooting scenes that will show up in The Godfather, it's cool. Like Michael's his first wife, the one that blows up, the one that they kill in the car bomb.
Right.
She was just somebody that was in Sicily. She was a waitress in Sicily, and they're like, oh, she's gorgeous. Maybe she could be this part. And they were like, can you speak English? And she goes, yes. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, that's the only line she really even had in the movie. But she was just some woman working in a cafe, and they decided to cast her and make her Michael's wife, right, in the film. The Lou Ferrigno shows up. He plays the guy that's oh my God, what's his name? The guy at the beginning that he's like Vito Corleone's enforcer. Oh, what's his name? He sleeps with the fishes.
Yeah,
Abe Vigoda?
Not Abe Vigoda. No, the character name. Anyway, he was actually a mobster. They needed somebody that was that big, and the guy they cast died. And so they just brought this guy in he was like one of the mafia guys to play that part. And he couldn't remember the lines, so that's why he's sitting there reading it before he goes to speak to the Godfather. Like because the actor couldn't remember the lines, but like, oh, but this kind of works because he's nervous about meeting him. So just have him read the lines off the cards, and when he flubs the lines, it's all just going to be because he's nervous. Like there's that kind of stuff that sits in there that's just super cool. But yeah, The Offer from Paramount Plus. Did you know after Al Ruddy after they won the Oscar, he did not do The Godfather 2? Do you know what movie he did instead?
What's that?
The Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds.
Oh.
And Sally Field?
No, she wasn't in the.
Okay.
No.
That was a hot Joe Claiborne, I think.
I think so. He didn't make it back to the Oscar.
Looked 40 instead of 45.
He did win his second Oscar for $1 Million Baby in 2004. Al Ruddy did. So, and Al Ruddy's still alive. He's 93. That's who I was getting twisted up with.
Gotcha.
Al Jaffe was Al Ruddy.
I don't even know who that is.
He's the producer of The Godfather. Well, that's the thing too. Is everybody's like, well, you're not the director? No, you're not. What does the producer do? He has to do everything. Like he's having to constantly put out fires. He's the one who has to get in bed with the mafia in order to get the movie made. So they'll lay off. Like it's and probably the best character in it is Bob Evans, who's Matthew Good plays Bob Evans. He was Ozymandias in the Watchmen movie. He's been in a few other things, but he's fantastic in the movie. Like, go watch The Offer. I give it the highest marks.
All right.
How many episodes is it?
It's 10.
Okay.
Yeah, go watch The Offer and then go straight into The Godfather.
The movie? Okay, so watch 2. The Offer first, though, before rewatching.
Watch The Offer first, yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll watch it. Yeah, I've been wanting to watch
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, next is Godfather 2. Now, Brad, do you know what is the deal with Godfather Coda? That's like them trying to fix Godfather 3, right?
I think so. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen any of them recently. And didn't they have was there like a director's cut, or maybe I'm thinking of the Coda thing or whatever? But yeah, so I think that's when they were trying to, fix past mistakes.
Yeah. It's an entirely new ending.
Yeah.
To the original cut. Oh, this is interesting. So, yeah, at the end of it, Michael doesn't have an on-camera death.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen them. It's maybe I will.
The question is there less Sophia Coppola?
In 3, I don't know. Maybe the Zack Snyder's are out.
Yeah, because that's what everybody hates about Godfather.
Right,
Well,
yeah.
aside from Michael Corleone's Bill Cosby sweaters, is Sophia Coppola. So, this was a great story in it. The Jimmy Kahn. So Talia Shire is Francis Ford Coppola's sister, and he cast her as Connie, right? Connie, Michael and Sonny's sister.
Right.
Well, the guy that they cast as her husband was just he was a 2-bit actor, but he was Italian, and they were having trouble finding enough Italians to fill out the cast. So they cast the guy, and apparently he acted in the scene where he's supposed to smack Connie, he actually hits her. And so they were all pissed about it, so they got James Caan to beat the shit out of him in their scene, because the whole scene where James Caan beats up Carlo, it's really James Caan beating the shit out of this guy, and they filmed it and put it in the movie.
Oh,
wow!
So, yeah, that's pretty great. So,
damn.
Yeah, go watch The Offer.
Well,
definitely watch that.
I know, like I said, we may have to wrap it up here in about 10 minutes. For power reasons. But PMR, I know you wanted to mention something about Picard. That's what you're looking at.
Oh, man. The finale is this Thursday. The show is absolutely fantastic. So,
but you've mentioned it on the last 2 podcasts, so this is starting to feel like our Flash report.
This is. You know what, Brian?
And our Cobra Kai report.
I don't give a shit. It's that good.
It's that good. Wow.
It's that fucking good. So I haven't watched anything this good in a long time.
So it is
Sci-fi related, of course.
It's it basically brought back all the Next Generation people, something to that effect. By now,
it did. It brought back, it brought back all the Next Generation and a couple of guest stars from the Next Generation. Characters, side characters that were on the Next Generation. 4 or 5 episodes, and then a couple of characters from Voyager, and it's just kind of like what I said they should have done 5 years ago when they did Discovery. It's kind of a where are they now?
Right.
with 30 years after the last Star Trek episode, Next Generation episode. What's going on at that timeline? Not Discovery's timeline, which started in the past and they're now in the future, and so it's really good. It's a really good show. So
now Picard didn't start out very good. You weren't a fan of the first season, right?
No, the first couple of seasons.
But they've course corrected, and this is season 3?
Season 3 is final season. It's got a new showrunner. He's just doing a fantastic job with it. And, there's talk about, wanting to carry on this time period with these, like the legacy characters, like Geordie LaForge's got 2 daughters. Picard's got a son. 7 and 9's going to be a captain of a ship, from Voyager. I know, it's a really good show. It's got me interested in Star Trek again.
Look at there.
Yeah. So, it's kind of like what I think Star Wars would like to do with some of their properties, but they don't seem to get that nostalgic feel to it.
Yeah. They Star Wars just kills off of their old people.
Pretty much. So what are you going to say, Brad? I'm sorry. What you got?
I got nothing.
All right. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Watch the Mario movie.
Well, how was that?
It's fine.
It's fine.
Kids loved it.
All right, good enough.
Yeah, kids loved it. It's making buku bucks. It's like the highest grossing video game adaptation ever.
That's crazy. Everybody loves it.
And that's the point I made, a year or so ago that, arguably next to Mickey Mouse, Mario is probably the most recognizable character in the world. So, but yeah. Mario movies, killing it.
All right.
Question is, what will we get next?
What next? What have I watched? I've watched parts of Cocaine Bear, if that counts. Yeah, that was enjoyable.
Stop about 30 minutes to the end. At that point, you've seen all the good stuff. It's just they feel the need to wrap it up from like a narrative standpoint, but it's just garbage after that point.
Okay.
They should have just let the Cocaine Bear live another day. Have one big kill and then ride off into the sunset.
Oh, wow.
So
they got to leave it open for a sequel.
Yeah.
Has anybody checked out the new Bob Odenkirk? Oh man, no. It's Happy or it's on AMC.
Wow.
No, I didn't know he had anything.
It's called Lucky Hank.
No.
So it's a lot kind of like Rushmore, a little bit. It's his dad was an author. He wrote one successful book. Now he's like a college professor, but he hates everybody. But there's one character on the show. Her name is Shannon. Hang tight. Shannon DeVito, not related to Danny DeVito.
Okay.
But she's in a wheelchair. She has, I don't know what but she has a disability.
Yep.
She's the best part of the show. Like, she is hilarious. And like she's kind of got all the charisma in every scene that she's in. But it makes you like, I'm sitting there watching it. I'm like, we always talk about diversity in these shows and representation in these shows. How many of these shows nowadays feature like someone with a disability?
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Hardly any. Right? Like that's if you want representation, how about some of that representation?
Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah, Breaking Bad, yeah. So, but the Lucky Hank's very good. I just don't know what. And it doesn't matter, but she's wheelchair bound and she clearly has a disability, but she's great in the show. And it's just weird that in the age of diversity, you don't have more disability diversity on television and movies.
Well, we're getting there.
Right.
It has to be gender and race, and then we'll get to disabilities. Come on, people.
Yeah. Right now, it's all just gender and race, gender, race. But I don't know. It struck me. I'm watching. I'm like, she's fantastic, and I'm like, you don't have characters like this on shows. So I don't know. Anyway,
well, there you go. Look at that.
Lucky Hank.
Brian with an uplifting message there toward the end.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so what do we got coming up? We got The Flash in June. When is that?
Oh, we got May? Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, Guardians
of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Brian, you brought your tickets to that already?
I've already had my tickets to Guardians, which I'll tell you, it's weird. I posted a photo. The Guardians, when tickets went live, for the past few years, every time a Marvel movie has gone, the pre-sale's gone live, they've crashed AMC, they've crashed, Fandango, and you couldn't get tickets, right? Well, I'm going to look, but I booked tickets like 3 or 4 days after they went live, and there was only like 5 other tickets sold in the theater for opening night.
What?
So I want to look right now, though, while I got you guys, just to see. Just to see. So opening night, Thursday, May 4th at 7 p.m., 7 p.m. showing. The theater, there's about 20 seats that have been sold.
Wow. All right, no one gives a shit about Rocket's story, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's that. If you want, in a nutshell, the fatigue, Marvel fatigue, there you go, right there. So 7 o'clock, about 20 seats. The 7:15, they've sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 seats.
Weird.
7:45, opening night, has sold 6 seats.
All right. Well, then that's only a couple of weeks away, right?
Right. It's only a couple of weeks away. I'll look at the 3D. Surely 3D is even less.
Yeah, you would think
3D has sold 5 seats in this theater.
I was going to say this. I didn't know 3D still existed.
I know.
And here's the thing. This is an AMC theater. This isn't. You know what? I'm going to look at Disney, Downtown Disney, and see what they've sold. Because that's like going to be the epicenter.
You would
for
think
all,
so, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So let me look. 7:45.
That's where the true nerds are going to be.
For the Laser AMC 7 p.m. opening night, it's sold. It's about 40% full at Disney, at Downtown Disney, Disney Springs AMC. I'm telling, like, you go back, even like Eternals.
Yeah,
that shit sold out like the day of.
That was the beginning of the end right there, I think.
Yeah, tickets have been available for 2+ weeks now. You got theaters with only 5 tickets sold. You know, like that's.
I don't know what
that's the thing. I don't know. Well, it's surely Marvel knows this. Like that, the ticket sales are soft. They got to know that the ticket pre-sales are soft.
Right.
Right. So, it ain't just. There's a lot of bad will. I mean, you went. Black Widow was a turd. Eternals was a turd. Black Panther was a turd. Spider-Man was good, but Spider-Man's not really MCU, right? It's Sony. And then Thor was a turd. I mean, they've had 4 of the last 5 movies. Doctor Strange. People did not like Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So, like, 5 of the last 6 movies have been really poorly received. And now you've got Guardians, which is, the end of this trilogy, and it's affecting their ticket sales. So,
all right.
What are you going to do, Marvel?
Hope
PMR?
Let's start it all over again. So we can watch another origin story of Cap, Iron Man, and Thor, and all that.
I didn't say reboot the whole thing.
Yeah,
I didn't say reboot the whole thing.
The whole goddamn thing.
I said a soft reboot so you can bring some of these characters back.
Reboot the pod, man.
I wanna just. I don't know what I'm saying.
All right. Well,
all right.
There you go. We really petered out this last 15 minutes of the show. Everybody's like, nah, I don't even remember what I was saying. All right.
I just fixed me a drink and just.
All right. I need me a blueberry coffee. So we got Guardians and we got The Flash.
Sisu. Gotta go see Sisu.
Your Sisu thingy. We may go see it's a movie of the live action play of Spirited Away.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
What?
Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Yep, that's coming up. That looks good.
Who's going to see Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret opening night?
I would think that Alex would be going to see that.
Yeah. Evil Dead Rise looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
a couple of good things. All right. Well, hey, we'll try to meet quicker than. It probably will be after Guardians the next time we meet. At this rate,
Guardians.
I don't think we're going to make the road to 200 this year. I'll be honest with you guys.
We only got 8 episodes.
There's 8 episodes and 7 months left of the year. There's no way in hell we can do it. I don't know.
We got this.
All right, we got this. We will get to 200 and then reboot.
Reboot. That's what I was going to say. Reboot.
All right.
Yeah.
Just reboot it.
All right. Well, we'll do that. But until next time,
save it for the podcast.